if you work with lavender birds, and that goes for like any variation of lavender birds. So in your Americanas, that's going to be South Blue. South Blue is synonymous with lavender. That's also going to be any birds who are porcelain, Isabel, opal. All of those colors are like other colors like Wheaten or Creole with lavender genetics bred in. So in all of those color varieties, if you're not already familiar with it, at some point you're going to start hearing the term feather shredding, because lavender carries with it a feather shredding trait that happens over time. And basically what this is sort of a degradation of the feather quality over time throughout the generations. There's really no telling when it's going to come into play, but when you see it, you're going to go, oh, there it is. I have found that it's more obvious in your males, your roosters in general. Now this guy has several issues going on because he also has a lot of blonde leakage coming through, but what we're going to focus is the feather shredding of the tail right here. And so I really want you to pay attention to these tail feathers, if he'll stop moving for us, because we'll compare him to another chicken and you'll really see the difference. Okay, so now I'd like you to pay special attention to this guy, and of course, he has so many pluses about him. I think it's pretty clear why he is in my breeding pen and the other guy is not. But let's focus on his tail so we can continue to talk about that feather shredding gene. So seriously, just look at this tail in comparison to that other one. See those nice, beautiful, full feathers? So there is a trade secret to go from that other rooster who I showed you to the quality of this rooster's feathers right here. And the trick is right here in this pen. Obviously it's the blackbirds, right? It's the black Americanas in here, because that is the thing to do with any of these birds with these lavender genetics in them, is we breed back to black or some black base bird every couple generations. And by generations, I don't necessarily mean years, I mean 3 generations down of the bird. So like each time you hatch from a specific set of parent stock, that is 1 generation. So like if I were to hatch from this breeding pen in here, their offspring would be my 1st generation, F1. And then when I bred those babies back together, they would be my 2nd generation, F2, and so forth. And here's how this works. Lavender is a recessive gene, black is dominant. To keep it really simple, each of these birds in here has received 1 gene from each of their parents as it pertains to feather color. The parent stock of all of these birds consisted of lavender Americana hens and a split black Americana rooster. So that means that that rooster was carrying 1 gene for black and 1 gene for lavender, and that hen was carrying 2 genes for lavender. So these lavender birds that you see in here got, of course, 1 lavender gene from their hen mother, because that's all she had to pass down. And then they also got a lavender gene from their split father. So the thing to note is that even though these birds appear black, and even though their father was for all intents and purposes a black Americana rooster, they are carrying 1 gene for lavender. They are split to black, but because that lavender gene is recessive, it doesn't present. It's basically dormant in there, and it wouldn't be until these birds bred with this rooster right here that in their offspring you would begin to see more lavender birds. Am I making sense here? I feel like I'm much better about writing this stuff than I am like talking it. So as you can see, with this color black, we don't see those feather shredding issues that we see in the lavender birds. So when we breed back to these black birds, we see much more improved feather quality, like in as little as 1 generation. It can happen really quickly. And then when you're working with other projects like leg bars, opal leg bars, for example, opal leg bars need to be bred back to cream or Creole leg bars every couple generations. Isabel Americanas need to be bred back to Wheaten Americanas. It takes mindfulness on the breeder's part too, because we really need to keep track of the genetics in our birds and who's who, so that we don't accidentally mix up these split black or split Wheaten or split cream birds or whatever with any other general flocks of those colored birds. There is testing that you can do though for that lavender gene. I'll have to find the link. I guess if you want the link, you can comment and I'll go find it and share it with you. But there is genetic testing for birds. You can test for things like homozygous blue egg genes. You can test for lavender genes. Like, it's actually pretty cool.